Hey man, Trader Rex said I could find the foreman Jimmy around here. Have you seen him? Are you guys on lunch break? Wait. Jimmy? I think Rex is looking for you. Don't mind me, don't worry. Hell no, I ain't the sort. I'm out of here. Alright, it looks like we're on our own. Fortunately, I have your help. Now get to work. I'm having a beer. No? I guess I'm on my own. So today, I'm doing another episode in the Build a Base mini-series. I'll be covering the Electrocuting Dart wall. I'll walk through step by step how to build and set it up, how it's wired, and how it works. And I'll run through some tests and see how it holds up against zombies. Let's get started. The basic outline of the corner sides will be very similar to what I've shown previously. We start with counting out 3 blocks from the other wall. This will form the corridor, which later will host the advanced cop trap. I've covered that in a previous video and I'll link it in the description below. For now, I've just closed it off so we can test without zombies doing a runaround. As per the standard design, we have a small tower. It's a 2x2 blocks inside to house traps and electricity items. Past the tower, we'll count out 9 blocks. This is where the actual wall, where the solid or pole wall will be placed. In this particular configuration, I'm making a slight change, testing out what Jerwa has suggested with the 2 lower posts placed at the bottom and the third one up high. This is to give better visibility for headshots when you fight the zombies behind it. It does have a potential drawback, in that while full-size zombies cannot enter, dogs and possibly wolves and spiders potentially could. But that's the drawback of doing that. Past the wall, we'll have a corner tower. Again, it's a simple 2x2 on the inside, which gives some space for the electricity items without being too bulky. We again have a wall made of poles from the other side, and then finally get to the small tower connecting to the future corridor with traps on the other side. So why use poles? Isn't that cheating? Well, my view is that the zombie AI being as broken as it is, you have a choice to make. A solid wall which is logical, but then forces you on top of the wall or even on bars overhanging the wall, causes a problem. It can seriously confuse the zombie AI to the point of making them stop beating the walls to get you and just milling below. While some consider outwitting the zombies this way a fair game and okay, I find it quite dull. And then one might as well just make a stilt base and save the trouble of hiding underground. So the other option, which is really my preferred solution, is to have a wall of poles, possibly 50 pillars or half blocks, where you stand behind and fight through the wall. Since the AI tries to destroy what's in between you and the zombies, they will beat on the wall and try and break through. This gives them at least a fighting chance to get into your base by using their fists rather than their decayed brains, which simply doesn't work and are too easily confused. But the base works either way, so you pick your poison. I know what I like. So now that we have the basics of the wall and towers done, let's get to the fun part. We'll place the tripwire posts in the corner and then across on the other side. And we'll do that for both the wall segment. We'll place the electric fence post one down. So place one here. We'll place one here. We'll also place one on this side and one here. We place them one down because they are a block and a half tall. This means the wire connecting from the top of the fence will run right at knee level of zombies coming to visit. And we'll get one down here as well. For added benefit, we're going to be doing a dual electric fence. So that's why I'm placing here as well. And I believe I forgot one over here. Having 2 of them will just help slow down zombies and prevent them from reaching the walls too fast. And it does spread them out a little bit better at the expense of some power. And I think that's a worthwhile trade-off. So how do you wire them up? Well, let's get the power from here. The order that you're doing this is pretty important, because you have to follow the power and the signal triggers correctly to ensure that the traps fire in the right way. So we'll connect to the tripwire here in the corner. Now this one is going to go across to this tripwire. And you see the distance is a little bit far, so I have to back up. So this tripwire then goes to this fence. That means that this fence gets activated when the tripwire is hit. I then connect this electric fence over to here. This means that as soon as the tripwire gets hit, the power flows to the electric fence post over there, over to this one, and the zombies that hit it gets electrocuted. And because we want to have a second one, we're going to do the same way. Connect this one, and we'll grab this one and connect over here. So how does this work? Astute observers will note that since the tripwire is on the inside length of fence, whereas there's one on the outside. So if something hits this tripwire and gets electrocuted, it's already passed by the first one, so it's in effect quite useless, isn't it? Well, the answer is yes and no. It does mean that if a single zombie walks in, the outside fence will trigger at the same time as the inside fence, thereby the outside fence will never hit the zombie. But we're not really concerned with single soul zombies arriving. We're concerned with groups and hordes who come knocking. When this happens, the first zombie trips the wire and gets electrocuted on the inside one, but since it also enables the outside fence to have power, any zombies that are coming behind starts hitting this outside one. So it'll take them a little bit extra before they can make their way into the first inside fence and start beating on the wall. So you get a little bit of extra time. There is an additional trick that we can get to. If we hover over the tripwire post and hit E, we open up the signal and power configuration options. What we're going to do is put a 3-second duration for each time the tripwire is tripped. So in a group situation, the first zombie comes in and gets killed before the rest of the group appears. The tripwire is still going to be active for 3 seconds, which should give enough time for the following zombies to arrive and hit the now still active outside electric fence. The duration can be tweaked. You can make it shorter or longer depending on what you feel is warranted. A quick note though, is that we'll be tying in the dart traps later on to the same tripwire, so having an excessive duration of say 10 or 20 seconds means a lot of darts potentially will be wasted with no zombies around. So a low one is probably going to be kinder to your dart supply. So let's do the same thing and connect the second wall segment. And again, corner tripwire goes to the side tripwire, which connects to the fence next to it, and that fence connects across. And we do the same thing for the outside fence. Connect the fence and see if we can get over here. Yep, we got it. You have to be a little bit tricky sometimes. If you make this one too long, and 9 is probably hitting the limit, you might have a little bit of trouble of connecting them because, again, you can only connect them a certain distance. So it can be a little bit tricky. If you are unsure if you're connected things the right way, bring up your wire tool and you'll see the direction of the power connection. And this can help you track down issue. You can also see that currently powered items are yellow versus the ones that are not powered yet, which are basically grayed out. What we have now set up is the walls with 2 lines of electric fences controlled by individual tripwires on the inside. We also have some rather big holes here on the side of the towers, and of course we don't want to have that long term. So for the bottom part where I put the electric fence, the block is already occupied, so I can't place anything else there. What we'll do instead, and let's get rid of these things, is to place a reinforced concrete plate. Let's get advanced rotation here. So while it doesn't block the wire, it will block zombies. And you see it does stick out a little bit, so you can take a little bit more damage, but generally it's so small that most of the zombies are going to end up walking right in front of here and not really trying to beat the plate. But what about the hole above it? Well, we have a couple of options here. We can leave it. We can just use it as a window for drive-through zombies, handing them some brains as they pass by. We might make ourselves some dukes, but it's a pretty poor defense strategy. So we want to do something. We put the plate at the bottom to protect the electric fence behind, and well, of course we don't want to have an opening here. We are, however, going to take advantage of there being an opening, and we're going to place down some of the dart traps. So let's get some of the dart traps. So let's get the advanced rotation, and I missed it there. So we're going to get the dart trap facing this way. This means that it's firing across and right outside the wall. And this is exactly what we want to do. We're also going to go to the corner and do the same thing here. I'm going to place one here. And I'm going to place one here as well, but not on the diagonal. And of course we're going to put one here as well to complete it. So we have the dart traps down, but we still have a hole here. So we have to cover it. One way is to place iron bars at the front. Darts can fire through iron bars, so that would work. But iron bars can't be upgraded, and they have less hit points than reinforced concrete, and definitely far less than a steel wall. So it will break under pressure faster than the block around it, and that's not really what we want to have. So what we do instead is to use the arrow slits. And starting with the reinforced concrete ones are good, and then upgrading them. With the outside flat, zombies cannot get into the block. And with the opening in the middle, darts can fire through. But wait a moment, you might say. The dart trap has 5 exit holes, and only the center one looks like it aligns with the middle of the arrow slit. And that's true. However, the way the dart trap is implemented is that while there are, on the block itself, it looks like there are 5 holes, only one, being the center one, is actually being used. So that one will happily fire through the arrow slit. So let's do the same thing here as well. Place one down here, and here, and let's do this way. So now to hook up the dart traps, and that's quite simple actually. All we do is grab the power from the nearest electric fence. So this one goes here, this one goes here. It basically means that when this electric fence is activated, which means the tripwire has been activated, this trap will fire. And likewise for this one. And let me do the same thing here. So I connect the electric fence to the dart trap and electric fence to the drop trap. And this is where, as I mentioned before, if you have a too long duration on the tripwire post, and I forgot to do this one over here, again you hold E or hit E and you then do 3 seconds of duration. So if you have it too long, it'll just keep firing even if there's no zombie there. So you're just wasting darts. So you don't want to do that. So let's get into this one and let's drop in and lock the ammo. It's important to ensure that you are stocking them and that you're locking the ammo. A dart trap without any ammo or where you forgot to lock it is pretty useless because it doesn't fire. So let's get the last one in here as well. Something which came up in the 7 Days to Die forums was that if dart traps fire across, how much does it damage the opposite block? I mean, isn't it going to hit this one and vice versa? And isn't that eventually going to break the trap on the opposite side and basically end up losing the traps? Well, no. While even in the configuration file, the dart trap, or the darts more specifically, have a block damage stat, testing confirmed that the dart don't actually do any damage to blocks. It only damages entities. So because they don't damage blocks, the darts simply stop. So maybe this will change in the future, but I don't really see any reason why it should, because you start on damaging your own base. But right now there is no risk. Alright, I've now backwalled the whole corner, as otherwise zombies would just walk around the walls rather than try to go through them. So we're ready to test. Let's spawn in some zombies. Let's get in 3 of the Joes. And let's have them walk up to take a bite. So they walk up, get electrocuted, hit by the darts, and that's it. And if you saw and heard, the darts continue just 3 seconds after the tripwire stopped being tripped. And you can hear the obviously and see the electric fence. So how much damage did all that make? Well, let's pull up the relevant stats from the game files. As you can see, the shock buff runs for 4.5 seconds, giving 6 damage a second. And for 3.2 seconds also slows down the target to 10% speed. Let's have a look at the darts. Darts fire twice a second, and the damage is 22 to 45, which averages out as 67 per second per dart trap. With 2 dart traps firing cross, it's some 130 and some damage per second. That's a pretty hefty punch. Although, of course, it gets split among multiple zombies if there's a group beating and standing right outside the wall. With normal zombies having maybe 150 hit points, they do a pretty good job of whittling them down fast. Of course, ferals, cops, white soldiers, and other less common zombies will naturally last longer. There is also an arrow critical bleed out buff that can occur, but that generally does nothing much against zombies, but it will however drain some health and stamina from a player, so in PvP, dart traps can be of some use for that as well. So how about if we spawn in 10 Joes at varying distances from the wall, and then let them attack. So let me do that. Let's bring in some Joes here. And just try to simulate a horde coming in. So let's see Joe here. We have Joe Farrell. Let's get another couple of Joe Farrells here. And then round off with just the normal ones. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9. Let's get another one. And let's have them attack. Carry on, men. See, they come in. A lot of them get electrocuted on the first one, but you see some are also getting electrocuted on the outside electric fence. And the dart traps are firing. And they're doing a pretty good job here. You see Straggler here coming in. And that's it. So the Ferals have twice the health and do twice as much wall damage, but even so, not really a big issue here. Let's see how much the wall took in damage. No, not too bad. A couple of hundred here in the middle, but that's it. So let's go a bit harder. Let's bring in a Feral Radiated White. With an excess of 1,000 health, let's see if I can find him here. There we go. He has more than 1,000 health, and he heals 80 every 3 seconds. So he does do massive damage to block as well. So what happens? Well, the electric fence stuns him, and the darts are basically just pounding away at him. So it does about 420 damage for 3 seconds, but he heals back 80. So every 3 seconds is taking an average of about 340 damage. So it takes a bit of time to whittle him down due to his healing, but as you can see, he goes down, and he didn't really attack either because he was stunned by the electric fence. Of course, in most cases, he'll be coming with friends, and some of them will be taking damage from the darts, and so he's not necessarily go down that fast. With all base defenses, you do need to actively work on taking down the radiated zombies, as they will wreck your base far faster than other zombies normally. As with all my base defenses, I see them as needing active assistance of some sort. You can provide this with lots of turrets and ammo, or you can be involved in the defense on your own to kill the zombies and repair. Eventually, zombie hordes will get stronger, and the risk of them breaking through goes up incrementally. So upgrade, use reinforced concrete, use steel, and layer your defenses. I hope you've enjoyed this build episode. Let me know in the comment section below of your favorite base designs, with or without dart traps and electric fences. And how do you survive the hordes of the undead as they become progressively harder? And of course, don't forget to subscribe, but you already have, right? Good luck.